stricter lockdown measures could be announced later, and we're looking at the implications here for democracy. These local government elections scheduled for October, but as you heard, several quarters have asked for a postponement. Let's discuss. We're joined by political commentator Makhosini Mgitwa. Mr. Mgitwa, are there precedents here? There must be, because it's been more than a year. What have happened to elections around the world?
Oh, yes, we do. Good evening, and to your viewers as well. We do have a new president in the United States, in Joe Biden, who was elected during the pandemic. So you can do it safely, in a free and fair manner, and making sure that it reflects the will of the people. I think South Africans, we've gotten used to conducting our elections in a manner that is out of kilter with the rest of the world. In South Africa, we do not have a culture of debates. We did have a debate between Nelson Mandela and F.W. de Klerk in 1994, but in 1999, President Thabo Mbeki abandoned that, and he chose, or the ANC at that particular time, chose the option of going to people doing door-to-door campaigns. So, but the problem with that is that when you're talking to people on the ground, apart from the fact that they could be super spreader events, when you talk to people like that, there's no one to moderate you, there's no one to fact check you. So you can lie to people because it's a one-on-one thing. And what usually happens is that after the local government election, 6 months down the line, there's a service delivery protest because people were lied to. But if you political parties can use the resources that are available, one of which is the SABC. There is no square kilometer of this country that the SABC does not reach. There is no population group, apart from the Khoi and the San, maybe. There is no population group that the SABC does not reach. And each and every small town in this country has a radio station, has a newspaper. So you can use those to reach people, to send your message. Right, and then when you get to a point now when you have to energize the people, which is Julius Malema, what Julius Malema is talking about, energizing people to go out and vote, you can find other means to do that. But it becomes a problem if you postpone an election, because what you are essentially saying is that you are taking away the right of the people for them to express themselves, and they do that once in 5 years. Yeah. You take that right away from you, and that cannot be allowed in a democracy.
But if there is an agreement that things can be done differently, I want to ask you about the lines shortly. But firstly, in the precursor, the debates and things like that are televised. You need everybody to agree, right? Will the former Deputy Chief Justice look at the fact that there was a rally or a march held this last week when there were tight lockdown restrictions?
You see, that's the problem. We are making the culture of rallies sort of almost like something that should be embedded in the Constitution, that people must have rallies and do door-to-door campaigns, even amid a pandemic. And we can have a successful election without those rallies, because to have a rally essentially, and I disagree with what is being said, that you're making the election unfair. What makes the election unfair is that in order for you to be taken seriously as a political party, you must fill a stadium. And to fill a stadium, you don't need ideas, you need money. So there are parties that are going to have money to fill stadiums, but other parties won't have money to fill stadiums. But if you have a debate that is regulated, the SABC and any other broadcaster and any other media organization can say, right, we are going to give this particular party so much time that is equal to their representation in that particular locality or district or metro. Right? And then you give them time that is equal to their representation, and they can be able to talk to people directly. You can use the platforms such as the SABC, you can use community radio stations. There are so many platforms that you can use to reach people. But what is important is that we as South Africans must be able to choose our own government, because if we don't do that, it means after the lapsing of their term, then we have a dictatorship, which means this commission is supposed to negotiate us getting to a dictatorship where we are governed by people we didn't elect. That is not right.
So what would happen? What usually happens? Does the IEC usually have the authority here? And then if an election is postponed, so you have local government officials, municipal leaders, they will just stay in their posts. That's what you're saying. We're not getting a chance to vote them out. But then what about the EFF saying, why don't we just wait 2 years and amalgamate the national and the provincial and the municipal elections? It'll just be a 2-year period.
Let's do it right, which means you must tell people when they vote that this time you are not giving people a mandate of 5 years. You are giving them a mandate of 7 years. And then we can, make sure that the elections of national, provincial, and local government happen at the same time. But as a political consultant, I'll tell you, I don't think that's a good idea. Because what you need to have, there need to be some kind of a balance. There need to be what you could call mid-term elections, where people have a voice of almost, having a referendum of where the country is going at that particular time. And that election, the results of that election can be an indicator as to whether people approve of how things are going or they don't approve. To have all these elections on one day. If a person has been, prevailed upon by the ANC or the DA, the EFF, or any other party, they are likely to vote for all those parties down the list. And that is not the right way to do it, which means if I elect a national government, I must know that I'm electing the national government. I'm electing the provincial government. Now I'm electing local government election.
All right, saying it has been done around the world. The IEC, last I recall, said that this could be done safely in terms of people voting on the day. But of course, the Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Moseneke doing an inquiry and looking at things like we've just discussed. What about rallies? What about huge gatherings in the run-up to local government elections? We'll follow the outcome of that. And thank you for your time. That was political commentator Makhosini Mgitwa.